Did you know one betrayal changed the entire course of European history? In 9 AD, Roman general Varus confidently marched 3 elite legions through Germanic territory. His trusted guide was Arminius, a Germanic chieftain who had served Rome for years. What Varus didn't know was that Arminius had secretly united the tribes against him. As they entered the narrow paths of Teutoburg Forest, strange signs appeared everywhere. Missing scouts, abandoned villages, eerie silence. But Varus ignored every warning, trusting his guide completely. Then the trap was sprung. For 6 brutal days, Germanic warriors attacked from every shadow. The forest became a graveyard for Rome's finest soldiers. Varus, realizing the catastrophe, fell on his sword rather than face capture. When news reached Emperor Augustus, he reportedly banged his head against palace walls, screaming, "Varus, give me back my legions." 20,000 Romans died in those dark woods. Rome never again tried to conquer beyond the Rhine River. One betrayal had permanently changed the map of Europe. Here are 5 things you didn't know about China's Terracotta army. First, each of the 8,000 warriors has completely unique facial features because they were modeled after real soldiers. Those soldiers were then executed to keep the tomb's secrets safe forever. Second, when archaeologists first uncovered them, every single warrior was painted in brilliant colors. But within hours of exposure to air, all the paint faded to the gray clay we see today. Third, hidden weapon compartments contained swords so perfectly preserved they could still cut paper after 2,200 years. The bronze blades showed no signs of rust or damage. Fourth, the entire tomb complex spans 22 square miles, but only 1% has been excavated. Mercury rivers were designed to flow through underground chambers, recreating China's geography in miniature. Fifth, satellite imaging reveals the main burial chamber contains actual lakes of liquid mercury. The concentration is so deadly that anyone entering would die instantly. This means Emperor Qin Shi Huang's body remains completely untouched after over 2,000 years. What if Churchill had successfully convinced Roosevelt to reject Stalin's demands for Eastern Europe at Yalta in February 1945? At the conference, Churchill desperately tried to prevent Soviet control over Poland and Eastern Europe. But Roosevelt, exhausted and ill, agreed to Stalin's terms. Imagine if Churchill had prevailed instead. Soviet forces already occupied these territories, so rejecting Stalin's demands would have meant immediate confrontation. The Western Allies would have faced a terrible choice: accept Soviet occupation or fight their former ally. But here's the twist. America still had atomic monopoly. An earlier showdown might have prevented the Cold War entirely. No Berlin Wall dividing Germany for decades. No Korean War with Chinese communist intervention. Eastern Europe could have been liberated immediately, not after 40 years of oppression. Stalin, facing nuclear threats, might have withdrawn from occupied territories. One diplomatic decision at Yalta could have created a unified democratic Europe right after the war. The entire second half of the 20th century would have been completely different. Did you know one impossible night of moving ships over mountains ended a 1,000-year empire? In 1453, Sultan Mehmed II faced Constantinople's greatest defense, a massive iron chain stretched across the Golden Horn Harbor. For over 200 years, this 500-meter barrier had made the city unconquerable. No enemy fleet could ever reach the walls from the water, but Mehmed had a crazy plan. If he couldn't sail through the harbor, he would go around it. On a single April night, his engineers built wooden rollers and used teams of oxen to drag 70 warships over land. 1.5 miles of steep hills. Entire naval vessels moving like they were on wheels. At dawn, Emperor Constantine looked out from his palace walls and saw the impossible. Ottoman ships floating inside his protected harbor. The chain that had defended Byzantium for centuries was now useless. Within weeks, the last remnant of the Roman Empire fell forever. One night of brilliant logistics changed naval warfare and crowned the Ottomans masters of the Mediterranean. Did you know a single battle in the desert ended nearly a century of Christian rule in Jerusalem? In July 1187, King Guy of Jerusalem marched 20,000 crusaders into the scorching wilderness. They were confident, heavily armored, and completely unprepared for what awaited them. Saladin, the brilliant Muslim commander, had set the perfect trap at Hattin. The crusaders wore full metal armor in desert heat with no water supply planned. Saladin's forces lit grass fires, creating choking smoke while staying just out of reach. For hours, the Christian army stumbled forward, dying of thirst and exhaustion. King Guy watched helplessly as his soldiers collapsed one by one. The mighty Crusader army was destroyed without a proper battle. Saladin captured the king and most of his nobles alive. 3 months later, Jerusalem's gates opened peacefully to Saladin's forces. 88 years of Crusader rule ended in a single day. This catastrophe shocked Europe so deeply, it launched the Third Crusade. One tactical mistake had changed the fate of the Holy Land forever. Here are 5 things you didn't know about the curse of King Tut's tomb. First, Lord Carnarvon died exactly 5 months after opening the tomb, when all the lights in Cairo mysteriously went out at the moment of his death. Second, his dog howled and dropped dead in England at the exact same time as Carnarvon's death, thousands of miles away. Third, photographer Arthur Mace died of complete exhaustion immediately after cataloging the tomb's treasures, despite being perfectly healthy before. Fourth, radiologist Archibald Reed, who x-rayed the mummy, died of a mysterious illness within a year, and American millionaire George J. Gould visited the tomb and died of fever the very next day. Fifth, of the 26 people present at the tomb's opening, 13 died within a decade under mysterious circumstances. But here's the strangest part. Howard Carter, who actually discovered the tomb and spent the most time inside, lived 17 more years completely unharmed, almost like the curse knew who truly belonged there. What if the Knights Templar had escaped King Philip's trap on Friday the 13th, October 1307? Instead of mass arrests, imagine their vast banking network remained intact across medieval Europe. Their financial system was centuries ahead of its time, with credit transfers spanning from London to Jerusalem. Without their collapse, Europe's economy would have stayed stable, preventing the financial chaos that followed. But here's the unexpected twist. They could have become a military banking superpower rivaling France itself. With their wealth and armies, they might have prevented the 100 Years' War through pure economic leverage. Their continued funding of scholars and artists could have sparked the Renaissance 3 centuries early. Think about it. Advanced mathematics, engineering, and art flourishing in the 1300s instead of the 1600s. Most surprising of all, a unified Christian military order with unlimited funding could have permanently held Jerusalem. The Ottoman expansion into Europe might never have happened. One successful escape could have rewritten the entire course of Western civilization. Sometimes the greatest changes come from what doesn't happen. Did you know the Roman Empire's final attempt to destroy Christianity actually made it stronger than ever? On February 23, 303 AD, Emperor Diocletian launched the Great Persecution with coordinated dawn raids across the entire empire. Churches burned, scriptures were destroyed, and clergy were arrested in a single devastating sweep. First, they demolished every Christian building and book they could find. Then came the ultimatum: sacrifice to Roman gods or face brutal punishment. Christians were thrown to wild beasts, burned alive, and crucified in public squares. The empire unleashed creative tortures designed specifically to break their faith. But something unexpected happened. Instead of abandoning Christianity, more people converted. Diocletian watched in disbelief as believers died singing hymns, inspiring onlookers to join their cause. The persecution had completely backfired. Within just 10 years, Constantine legalized Christianity throughout the empire. The faith Diocletian tried to eliminate became the official religion of Rome. The empire's greatest persecution had created its most powerful conversion tool. Did you know Emperor Nero never fiddled while Rome burned? In fact, he wasn't even in the city. On July 18, 64 AD, the Great Fire erupted while Nero was 35 miles away at his villa in Antium. When news reached him, he raced back immediately to organize relief efforts. He opened his own palaces to house thousands of refugees and personally funded food distribution across the city. But his enemies in the Senate saw an opportunity to destroy him. They spread whispers that he had started the fire himself, that he played music while citizens died. The rumors grew into legend, painting him as a monster who celebrated destruction. When Nero realized the conspiracy against him, he made a fatal choice. Instead of defending himself, he blamed the Christians, launching the first systematic persecution. This decision sealed his fate and destroyed his reign. The truth died with him, but the lie lived forever. History's most enduring myth was born from political revenge. Did you know the greatest general in history was forced to beg on the streets by the emperor he served? Belisarius was Justinian's most trusted commander, a military genius who achieved the impossible. In 533 AD, he sailed to North Africa with just 15,000 men and crushed the entire Vandal kingdom in one campaign. Then he turned to Italy, defeating the mighty Ostrogoths and reclaiming Rome itself for the Byzantine Empire. With tiny armies, he restored half the old Roman Empire, bringing glory back to Constantinople. But success bred suspicion. Justinian grew jealous of his general's popularity and victories. False conspiracy charges followed. Belisarius was recalled from campaigns, stripped of his honors one by one. The emperor's paranoia consumed him. He couldn't bear that a subject outshined him. In 562 AD, Belisarius was accused of treason and lost everything. The man who rebuilt an empire was reduced to begging for coins in the very capital he had enriched. Without him, the reconquered lands crumbled. Imperial jealousy destroyed Rome's last hope of restoration.
Quick reminder, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel more than you might think, and it keeps you plugged into all the upcoming content. Appreciate every one of you watching.